So what I did by the end of 2022, I started zooming out of COVID because to me, it's appeared that this was actually a symptom of a bigger problem. And so I started putting public health under the lens and found that there's very little work done on public health as a broad discipline. There are some elements in health economics, but health economics is largely about private health matters and drugs and so on. It's not so much about the justification for interventions like quarantine. In fact, nobody, as far as I know, has studied quarantine properly before the COVID lockdowns. And so what I started doing is what we always do in the Treasury. We start looking at things from first principles. Is it really something that the government should get involved, and so on and so forth? So I'm looking at public health now. And one of the things I found, the biggest thing I suppose I put on this particular slide, I've actually skimmed through hundreds and hundreds of books and articles by now. The one thing we notice is that medical panic is common and quarantine is common. So quarantine has been going on for more than 650 years, and medical panic is extremely common. I'll come to that shortly. So other things that we notice by reading all the public health literature and textbooks and even health economics, unfortunately, is that there is a fair amount of high praise for quarantine and vaccine mandates, which I'm not covering today. So what happens is a lot of totalitarian policies are recommended within the literature. So students who are coming out of the colleges and universities are predisposed to these policies anyway. And of course, panics have occurred. Doctors have panicked the most. Where doctors do not panic, I found that the panic doesn't spread much in society. Spanish flu was very mild panic in USA, for example. In 2014, even Anthony Fauci didn't panic, and he in fact stopped the panic for Ebola in USA and Tegnell and so on. The other point I found is that panics are increasing in frequency and intensity. And I've got some reasons why this might be happening. The misuse of emergency powers that we've seen in 2007 was predicted well in advance by Professor George Annis, who said that this power to arbitrarily quarantine people in emergency will be used immediately, whether warranted or not. And he regretted the fact that public health officials still embrace these medieval ideas of quarantine.